What's up, everybody, and welcome back to All the Things Sort of Truth, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of True series with craft brew on the side. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jade.
And this week we're going to be talking about Chapter 44 of Wizard's First Rule, 5 to the end.
Yeah, we're like right there.
Yes. Me and you noticed that these chapters are starting to get a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
At least the next few, because I think everything is getting set up for the final chapter.
For the big one.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, here's a little bit of these people here, a little bit of these people here.
Yeah.
Everybody's gearing up.
Putting the pawns in place.
Right, exactly.
Yes. In this chapter, Richard gets to play Deal or No Deal with a dragon.
Yeah?
And Zed takes a trip to the underworld.
Oh, fun.
I said that a little bit weird.
You did.
It's a small one, but a big one.
All right, so I guess we get into it. So the chapter starts off with Richard leaving the palace. And as luck would have it, Constance stops him, and she keeps trying to get him to use his sword, so obviously she could recapture him, bring him back.
Right.
But he's smarter than that.
He starts to reach for it at first, but then he's like, nah, not gonna trick me like that. And then he kills her with Dennis Agile, and the whole thing is like, yay. Like it's
Poetic justice, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a happy murder.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, it is a happy murder. It's funny because they're both Mord Sith, and like 4 chapters ago, had you heard Richard's gonna get kidnapped, but one of them's cool. But there's another one who's a jerk. But they're both kidnappers. You'd be like, well, fuck both of those kidnappers. But no, you're right. He did murder both of them.
Yeah.
And one was like sad.
Yeah. Remorseful.
Denna, to clarify.
Yeah.
And the other, obviously, fuck yeah, kill that bitch.
Fucking Constance. Yeah, and his main thing is, I could forgive you for whatever you did to me, but I can't forgive you for betraying a friend, because you're a shitty friend. Don't be a shitty friend.
Yeah, that's why she's going to die. She's going to die for betraying Denna, pretty much.
It's not even betraying him, it's betraying somebody else.
Right. But he gets to say the... not the TV show, the movie. We'll say the movie because the movie is in our heads. He gets to say the movie line as he kills Constance. Promise made. And then he like jams it in and twists it. Promise kept.
Yeah.
And it sounds awesome.
This is the second time.
Yeah.
Just like after Violet, he's like, ah!
Yeah. Or if he were scoring up in a video game, this would be the little animation where he's like, ha ha ha, after he does the thing. Next level.
Level 60.
Yeah.
Yes.
Level 60 Seeker. Don't get me wrong, I'd play the game.
There should be one.
If you're listening to this and you're really good at like video game design, come talk to us, man. We'll work something out. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll go to Terry afterwards about the whole,
Oh, right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, better talk to him first. Never mind.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll get there.
So eventually Richard gets out of the building because he just leaves her body laying in a heap in the hallway. And once he's out there, a guard just comes up to him and he's like, hey, you need a horse? It's a long walk. And Richard's like, what the fuck? He's so cocky. He's just going to have his people be like, yeah, what do you need, dude?
Yeah, well, he's got it all worked out.
No, it was just Darkenrall told them all to be super cool to him. So they are.
Hey, I'm going to let this prisoner go. He's a pretty bad dude, from his perspective. Let's just turn a blind eye and let him go. Cool?
Yeah.
And his people are cool with that.
I think Darken knows Richard's not going to hurt people on the way out unless they try to hurt him. So he's probably like, just don't attack him. The dude's going to be cool, I promise. And he's going to come back in a week, and he's going to be cool, I promise. Really?
Because I hit him on the head bringing him in here, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't like me very much.
He's probably got a grudge or some shit. But no, they offer him a horse, and he's like, okay. How far to the mountains? And he's like 5 days away from the army.
Yeah, they give him directions, too.
Yeah. They're like, which side of the Rangshada do you need to go? Like, do you need directions? Do we need to give you a GPS? What do you need, bud? And Richard realizes that even though his brother and the army might be far away, Kaylin and Zed are probably closer because Darkin said they were closer. He just doesn't know where to start looking for them.
Right. He's in a country he's never been in, and they're coming from another country. He's completely lost and without help.
Right.
So he doesn't know where to start looking.
And at first he's a little bit pissed because he's like, why the fuck would they come after me? I told them not to come after me, but then he's like, wait, I would have done that shit too, though.
Yeah, it didn't really matter what he said. Of course they're coming.
Yeah. You're not just going to ignore your person being captured.
Oh, fuck no. You can't turn your back on the hero, man.
He's the Seeker. They have to get the Seeker. So before Richard leaves, one of the guards is like, hey, on your way, just make sure you don't take a right instead of a left because there's a big angry dragon if you go right. That's Darkins. You should probably avoid him.
Hell of a detail. But also super nice.
Yeah, he really didn't even have to go out of his way to do that at all. Darkenroll was like, yeah, be nice to him, but like, you could totally let him get eaten by a dragon. That's fine.
Didn't say shit about keeping him alive.
Yeah, it's good to know. Good piece of information. On his way out, Richard rips the collar off that's been around his neck for the last, what did we decide, 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks at this point.
Probably a little dirty under there. But he takes it off and he chucks it in the bushes and he tells himself he will never wear a collar, not for any fucking reason. Never again.
Yeah, the never again kind of mentality comes up a lot throughout the series, I want to say. And it all starts here with the collar.
As Richard is riding across the plains, he starts thinking about what happened back there with Denna and how, because he can't stop thinking about it. It's all that's going through his head at this point. And he knows that if it wasn't for Zed and Kaylin and everybody depending on him, he would have killed himself after he killed Denna because it hurt that bad. Way worse than anything else he'd ever felt before.
Which kind of goes to show how strong the power of the sword actually is. Because at this point, he feels really strongly about Kaylin. And Zed is as good as a dad to Richard.
Yeah.
There was a little teaser about, George Cypher's not your dad, but the man who raised him is gone, and Zed is there to help him keep going.
Right, he's like his guide.
So both of these people he has super strong ties to, and they mean more to him than him killing himself because it hurts.
And he wouldn't have the feeling of wanting to kill himself if it wasn't for the sword, because he's not that type of person, usually.
Now here's a question. If Richard felt bad, so bad that he wanted to kill himself, knowing that the magic of the sword depends on the intent of the user, would Richard be able to kill himself with the sword of truth?
Technically, if he thought himself guilty enough, he probably could. And or if he felt empathy enough for himself, he probably could.
Okay, I had the opposite thought. I didn't think he'd be able to do it. I think because he's the Seeker, it might prevent him. But then again, you're probably right, because he does cut his arm with the blade, in that weird power display before he kills somebody. She just, So the blade can hurt him. And so, yeah, no, I changed my mind. I'll bet he could.
Interesting question. What do you guys think? I'm sure we're going to have a comment from somebody about it.
It's just something that popped in my head. Wait, could he though?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think we could probably talk about it longer. But since he doesn't try any longer in this chapter, let's keep going.
Okay.
So Richard is traveling for a long time, and he has a lot to think about. He starts thinking about the conundrum about how one of his friends had to have betrayed him, but also that doesn't make sense. Because, Zed was looking for him with the Nightstone. Darkenroll said that.
Right.
He wouldn't have if he knew he was there. And he doesn't believe Kaylin would do it, because obviously Darkenroll is looking for Kaylin, trying to get her.
He had to send 2 quads to get Kaylin.
Yeah.
And, but the thing about Zed is that Zed could be looking for him if he was on the other side, too. Even if he's playing as Richard's friend and really a bad guy, he could be trying to figure out where Richard is under the guise of, let me help you out.
Well, yeah, but he wouldn't be the one then that gave him up and gave the box up.
Also true.
He would be that person is probably in communication with Dark and Raw
Yeah.
at this point. So it just doesn't make sense that it would be him. And Shota said that he was going to have to use his powers against them, and he's trying to figure out all this shit, and none of it makes sense. Everything just kind of sucks.
And on top of that, we know that he looks like Dark and Raw to Zed and Kaylin,
Yeah,
as long as when he meets them, they are loyal to him.
right.
If one of them has turned, then they're going to be like, oh, it's Richard. So he's trying to figure out which of his friends has turned him in, supposedly. And when he gets to see them finally, if they're like, holy fuck, it's Dark and Raw, then he knows that they're friends, but they don't want to see him.
Yeah,
And if they did turn him in, then they're going to see Richard and be like, what up, buddy? But he's going to know that they're fucking backstabbers.
yeah. Liar, liar, liars.
Motherfuckers.
But either way, he's feeling pretty fucking hopeless about the whole situation at this point because he doesn't know where to find them.
He's kind of back where he started with the boxes of Orden. Like, I don't even know where to start. Where do we go?
Right, he's got to find at least that last box somehow. He's got to figure out who has it and who betrayed him and then where they put it, or if they're on their way to Dark and Raw or what the deal is.
Right.
He starts chanting to Dark and Raw in his head, and he thinks about how crazy that is, but he does it anyways.
I think that probably comes from a place of comfort. He's been in Dahara for the last few weeks doing this, and during the time when he's saying the chant, he's not getting the shit kicked out of him by the Mord Sith. So maybe he just associates that with, like, calm, maybe being able to think.
I definitely think that it's kind of some type of coping mechanism that he dealt with during the captivity that is now spilling over and helping him now.
Yeah, it, like, clears his head.
Yeah.
So he can just slow everything down for a minute. And I think it enables him to better look at a situation, like weighing his options. Where do I do now?
Yeah. Let me wipe the whiteboard clean and only put back the pieces that I want.
Yeah.
So the only thing he can't clear his mind of is the shit with Denna, because it's just like bam right there, and he can't let it go. He still has to cry about it and like deal with that every day.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be a grieving process with people that you're that close to.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of that is because of the sword, but I think a lot of that is also just like human nature.
Oh, yeah. I kind of look at this like Richard and Denna just went through a traumatic event,
Yeah.
but Denna is gone now. Richard feels bad that he killed her, but now Richard has to deal with that traumatic event for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
and Denna doesn't.
Yeah.
So just the weight of that person not being there, so you can't share that with anybody anymore, because that was the only other person who understands. So I think that weighs really, really heavy on Richard, and that is, like you're saying, like human nature.
Yeah, you would have to be a pretty cold person to be able to just go through that and do that and like wipe your hands of it and keep moving without breaking down. Occasionally, at least.
Right. At the very least, it'd be something that's in the back of your head for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So, in between his thoughts of everything else, he decides, you know what? I think it might be a good idea to hijack that dragon.
You know what I need? A fucking dragon. He's got one chilling in the woods. I've got this horse, which is cool, but I need to be able to find people.
You know, it's cooler than a fucking horse.
Fucking dragon. Just picked him up. No big deal. But you know what I need to be able to do? I need to be able to search a large area quickly. So a horse will definitely help me out, but a dragon, much better for what I need.
I thought it was funny because his reasoning was, well, Darkin didn't say I couldn't. He didn't say I couldn't steal his dragon. So fuck him, right?
Right. Well, and those two guys who were helping him with the horses just so nicely told him, by the way, there's a dragon over there.
Yeah, tied up waiting.
To anybody else, they'd be like, oh, dragon, I'm going to stay away from there. But they didn't count